The story of the adaptive edge architecture is a fascinating one. Approximately 5 years ago, the chief technologists and strategy folks from the ProCurve network looked at what we thought were the primary applications that customers would deploy over the next decade, which is really the time horizon we design our architectures around. And we came up with the same answers that most of the people in the industry came up with. Mobility, convergence, security were going to be the primary things that customers had to address in their network during these 10 years. What I think we recognize that many other suppliers in the industry did not was that if these were the three mainstream applications that had to be addressed, they had to be addressed at the same time. As a result, you couldn't use simple design rules or simple one-function appliances to address each one of them independently, because then when you tried to overlay those capabilities, they simply wouldn't work together effectively or they wouldn't provide the necessary solution. What we looked to was the Internet, a place where the architecture was already handling quality of service. It was handling a security which was robust enough to allow for accounting, for multi-location access, mobility, all sorts of capabilities. And what we noticed about the Internet and the network architecture of the Internet was it was fundamentally different than the architecture of an enterprise network. In fact, instead of having all the intelligence in the center, as enterprise networks of that day did, we noticed that the intelligence was distributed to the edge. And that's when the concept of the adaptive edge architecture really took root within this business and, first of all, sponsored the development and implementation of the 5300 and other intelligent edge products, and certainly drove the development of the ProVision ASIC, which we're releasing in our ProCurve 5400, ProCurve 3500 switches today. In other words, what we're trying to do with the adaptive edge architecture is allow an application to be implemented within a customer's infrastructure in such a way that is optimized for whatever the application might be. Let me give you an example. Security. Security cannot be implemented through a proxy to the center of the network. Security has to be implemented at the point where people are impinging upon the network, the point of ingress and egress from the network. And that security, while it may need to be managed centrally, and there may be some central control functions, it's got to be enforced, and the network infrastructure has to be protected at the edge of the network. You need deep packet inspection, you need on-the-fly protocol analysis, and you need the ability to adapt to new standards and new architectures, such as client integrity models or virus throttling or other capabilities which happen right at the port where the customer connects. And that's the concept around the adaptive edge. Not a universal move all the intelligence to one spot in the network and another, but provide a network infrastructure and provide networking devices which are capable of deploying architectures, some which are centrally run, some which are highly distributed. And we believe that gives customers the maximum flexibility going forward and allows us to implement the most features on products customers are buying today for the next decade.